the last stream. Didn't have a lot of questions, but I did have one.
Mm-hmm.
And one person wanted some clarification of just what's the word I'm looking for. Let me read the exact thing we have right here. Let me pull it up real quick. They wanted clarification of what is the importance of the missing children's incident, and where exactly does it fall in the timeline of the grand scheme of things? Tal, do you have an answer for that?
Man, this chicken's good.
If you guys can't tell, it's time for Talon to eat.
The significance of missing children pretty much takes a major threshold into the actual timeline, considering it's part of the reason why the first attraction itself, well, not the first attraction, because that's going to involve partially the third game, but majorly the fourth game. It affected one of the establishments of Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria, in the sense that it's the reason why those news clippings existed, and why, you know, some people were avoiding the pizzeria because of the incidents that happened in it that were disturbing. It also affects the fact of how the animatronics react towards you throughout the games, and, well, the actual storyline itself.
Yeah, and that really puts a lot of perspective on it. The missing children incident is a big theme throughout everything, and everything Five Nights at Freddy's. It honestly, the missing children incident, while it doesn't get covered as much later in the games, especially after FNAF 3, honestly, it still has its little parts and pieces where we get to learn more and more about it. It doesn't take main hold of the story anymore, but it still plays one of the most important roles as really the turning point of showing that William Afton can't go back, honestly.
It'll have a bigger role whenever we get to learn more about Agony and Remnant, though.
Correct.
So,
when we get to the book series and FNAF's location and FNAF Pizzeria Center and everything. Okay. Yeah. Now, this is going to be kind of a prelude, as something has come up that I have to take care of. So, Talon, if you want to keep them entertained, rehashing them of what we talked about last time, I'll be back in about 5-10 minutes. Just keep them entertained for a second, keep them in the loop, and I'll be right back.
All right.
Keep them informed of everything that we've learned in the past few episodes.
Okay. Alright, I guess you guys are stuck with me now. Great. Not the most entertaining person ever, but I'll try. Let's see. First game. Trying to think of where we started off when we talked about it. I can name some of the key things that we discussed during first video, but some of the things we talked about involved news clippings, how they were changing throughout the week, to actually explain some of the events occurring with Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria in the first game. How the animatronics almost have a human-like ambience to them, in a sense, or aesthetic, I guess, in appearance. Not because of their features themselves, but how they respond to other things and the way they just move. Because, you know, sure, the animatronics are set to do certain things probably during daytime hours so that they follow a program or protocol. But for some of the ways that those animatronics responded to the player during nighttime, it would indicate that it's out of the ordinary for them, at least. In a similar sense to, like, why would Fox need to sprint down a hallway towards the door just to get inside a room? It's not really something that makes sense for an animatronic to do during the daytime hours. Let's see what else. Probably gonna be skipping through between first and second game. I'll mention it when I do the switch, but it's just my memory isn't so great, so I'm gonna hop over to the second game for a moment. Um, Second game, we discuss key animatronics such as Marionette, Golden Freddy, and just overall some of the characters that we have reappearances with, or even the toys. Even how the story is somewhat similar to the events of the first game in the sense that children disappeared once again, and that's probably the reason why the toys go from a friendly demeanor in the first night to all of a sudden jumping into a hostile uh, pursuit of the player. Um, uh, Man, my memory really sucks right now. Let's see. Oh yes, Marionette and Golden Freddy. Um, they were discussed mainly because of the fact that Marionette itself is a very strange entity that the player has to deal with throughout the game. Probably one of the more annoying ones, honestly, but still nonetheless, one that is admired throughout the community and both despised at the same time for its annoyance. And Marionette plays a huge role into the second game storyline as well, with certain mini games like uh, give gifts, give life, and save them. I believe there might be one more that Marionette is featured in, but overall, the Marionette makes key appearances throughout the second game, especially in opening nights, or well, more or less, you could say it's at the night ends, but it's also at the same time like right before the night starts. It depends on how you want to consider it. But whenever it starts up and it shows you like a perspective of, well, one of the main antagonists or protagonists, whichever you would prefer, Freddy, on night one of Freddy Fazbear, or why do I say Freddy Fazbear's? Five Freddy's 2, you get welcomed with an unexpected perspective of you looking through Freddy's eyes. And, you know, it's certainly something that you didn't expect whenever you actually got into the game, but it's still something that was nice to see nonetheless. It's something that's new, so it's a lot to appeal to. Certainly confusing, but liked. For the first night of it, it's just that you notice that you can look around, of course, and see the establishment that is obviously the previous game, Five Nights at Freddy's 1, and explore somewhat in the sense that you get to, well, observe through Freddy's eyes, not actually move. But as more nights go by, with the animatronics becoming more hostile and even the withers waking up, hi Pearl.
No.
Doing essentially a summary for Styles real quick because he's streaming currently, so just keep you up to date.
Shoot, sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. You can actually help. So I'm just currently talking about the opening scenes for the second game, like you know how you take perspective from Freddy's eyes throughout the nights and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm discussing that right now. If there's anything I messed out, just let me know. And overall, throughout the nights, animatronics get more hostile and have an aggression towards the player. And when you get through more and more nights, you start to notice that while you're looking through Freddy's eyes with each and every opening bit, it kind of becomes more disturbing over time, with night 2 and 3 allowing you to see that Bonnie and Chica, remaining at your side, eventually just usually staring forth into the environment, doing nothing, are now slowly gaining, not gaining, but starting to also observe the environment alongside you. But over time, you start to see certain characters like Golden Freddy, I believe, on night three's opening scene, and Marionette on the last night's opening scene. And it overall gets more disturbing with the last night having both Bonnie and Chica staring directly at you, as if they actually knew there was something up with you. Which it would be that possibly it might be the souls or the missing children taking form into the animatronics to possess them in a sense. And Freddy being maybe the last one to actually retain that, considering our stature with Freddy's view being very, very limited compared to Bonnie and Chica being able to directly look at the player. Is there anything else you would like to know about Five Nights at Freddy's 2 Pro?
Oh, okay. Alright, because I thought you said 1 at first. I was like, wait.
Well, 1 and
not
2,
even-
but I'm currently switching between 1 and 2, so I'm just doing 2 right
Okay.
now, because I have little memory of 1 right now.
I've yet to finish. I'm super close to finishing 2.
Okay.
Actually, one more night.
Well, that helps, because you have fresh memory.
Yep. And then I have to do 3. I'm so not excited to do 3. I'm so terrible at it.
I can help you with that slightly. I say slightly because of the fact that, for anyone who doesn't know this, my boy Sterls over here, he has, I think it's like a guidebook for Five Nights at Freddy's. I forgot if it's for solely the series itself or 3, but essentially it states that Springtrap does not actually have a set starting point.
But
Yeah, it sounds like you're going through a hurricane.
oh, this is really.
Can you hear myself?
1 second. Is it better? Is it better?
Hello?
Is it
I
better?
can hear myself. Okay, technical inconveniences currently, guys. Sorry. Oh god, where was I going with this? Oh yeah, right. So for Springtrap, he does not actually have a set starting point. So while you're used to certain animatronics being in certain places in the previous games, and even the Phantoms retaining certain points that they reside in, well, certain cameras or rooms they stay in for them to appear, Springtrap can actually appear in any room, and pretty much that factor alone can screw you over because of the fact that if you're not aware of this, like me for the longest time, you're probably staring at cameras 9 and 10, looking for Springtrap and trying to see why he hasn't appeared for like 2 hours of the night. So good luck with that, Pearl. That's why I say I can only partially help you, because
That's
that's
the
RNG.
FNAF game I'm worst at, and that was the very first FNAF game I ever played. How does that make sense?
Pro tip I can give you, I guess. Well, it's not even a pro tip, but up until like, so what I did for Five Nights at Freddy's 3, I did this for 5 nights, which it's not advisable. You should probably stop doing it once you get to night 4. But what you can do is you seal off the vents between cameras 9 and 10, whichever vent he goes into first. You can just seal that one off, and just try to keep him between cameras 9 and 10. Sometimes he'll skip, and you'll have to drag him back over there, but you usually won't have to worry about him going too far, as long as you can maintain him staring in cameras 9 and 10. Usually. Now, if he spawns somewhere else, and he's getting too close, I forgot what cameras it is specifically, but I think you want to keep him by 2 and 3, which is very uncomfortable, I'm going to say that much. It's a very uncomfortable spot to have him. Because once he goes from cam 3 to cam 2, after he leaves cam 2, he comes right in front of the glass in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
And normally, once you pull up your camera, like, if you're not really paying attention, he'll just go by and come by your doorway. But if you're quick enough, you can send him back to cam 2 and pull him back to cam 3. So it just depends on where he spawns. I'll help you as it goes when I get the chance.
I just need to get used to the rhythm of the controls.
Yeah. Though, if you're gonna do that tonight, I can't help you. But if anyone doesn't know this already, if I didn't mention in the last stream, or not stream, a video, I will be leaving for about 5 days, I believe. Going on a trip to New Mexico. If you didn't know this, Pro, now
Oh
you
my
do.
god, you're going to my home country. I'm sorry. Dang it. Sorry. Sorry.
Yes, home countries, home countries.
I'm just gonna leave it at that.
So yeah.
Before it gets worse.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Stroll just had to keep them entertained, and I'm pretty sure recapping the first video isn't going to directly keep them entertained. It might annoy them, possibly. So adding a little bit
He's
of a
playing
comedic
FNAF
effect
now?
might help.
Is
No,
that why he's not here, or is
he had to go do something. I don't know what specifically.
okay.
He just said something urgent came up, and I should stall. Well, not stall. Entertain our guests for up to 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay.
So it might help to actually, not just recap everything and maybe have a comedic element for the time being.
Yes.
Sorry to anyone that actually wanted a complete recap of the last video, but hey, maybe it'll convince you to go back and actually rewatch it. Not
Yeah,
that you might not
do
want
it.
to do that or anything, but
Do
yeah.
it.
Now listen to the woman.
Yeah, do it. So what are you going to Mexico for?
We're going to New Mexico because of the fact that we like the
New
environment.
Mexico.
Yeah.
Okay. FNAF.
It's overall pretty purifying of an experience. I want to go to Albuquerque while we're there, but I don't think we will.
New Mexico is like, from where I'm at, is like, not far.
Oh, hi, Strolls. Hello. Why do you say take it and then Talon?
God dang it!
Hi, yo.
Is he talking?
He's typing in my chat because I'm streaming as well. I'm doing a live stream. He's doing a video. Unless he's also
Okay.
streaming, then I don't know. Oh, okay. Thank you, Strauss.
I don't know what is he saying?
He said good recap.
Oh, okay.
Paper Pals. Oh, right. Paper Pals. Stream. Oh, you're streaming.
Do you ever see that game? I think it's only on the computer. It's like really you have to play with 8 people, and you're I forgot what it's called, like Miko or something
Can
like
you
that.
give me like a description of the game itself, like genre wise, or what are you doing it?
Okay. It's a co-op game, but it's like an 8 people co-op game. So, like, I don't know how to explain it.
Okay.
I have to look it up. Hold on, let me.
8 people co-op game.
Yeah.
That makes it kind of hard.
It doesn't seem as hard as it. I'll just show you.
Is it a horror game or something, or like what?
No. I don't know why I'm saying this. We don't even have 8 people to play it with.
Let alone do me and you have proper access to PCs. For the time being, of course. Because just to give everyone a little heads up, Sterling probably doesn't appreciate me telling you this, but at some point we're looking into getting into the virtual world, so,
Game on. Oh god, I'm dying.
So I expect to see some virtual content maybe here in a couple months from any of us, honestly. Depends. Because Pearl here is going to be getting a Oculus Quest 2 eventually. Don't know when, but eventually.
Yes, I frick, where is it? Oh, smart, bro, smart.
Indeed. Oh wait, I haven't started the game yet. I'm sorry for anyone who's been watching me. You've been listening. Well, I mean, I did title the video, yeah, it's a FNAF discussion, but for anyone who actually wanted to see me do something, like play a game, I am very sorry. I will start that immediately.
Oh, I found it. Okay, what is Pico Park.
Pico Park.
Look it up.
Okay.
I knew it was like Miko or Pico, something like that. I don't know what it's on actually. I just see a whole bunch of people playing it. It's like popular right now. Carry your love with me. Kidding me?
There's something like it on mobile for us. It's not exactly
What?
Pico Park, but it's called Online Cats.
Oh.
There's also
Okay.
Cat Team Online. Looks similar to the game you're talking about.
Is it just basically the same thing?
Pretty
Just
much.
PS. Okay.
I don't know if it's on console or not. I forgot to play a game.
Once Charles gets the what's it called, the thing for the computer to record on the computer.
Mhm.
Capture card. That's what it's called. We'll be able to if we all were to get it on our computers, the game, then we can do that. Or do you even have a computer?
Damn, bro got tied
I
up.
just asked you a question.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. What'd you ask?
Do you have a computer?
I have a Chromebook.
Okay. I don't know if that's good.
It's not gonna work.
Yeah. Is it like the one you got from school?
It's one I got a couple years ago when I came here to Texas. Cause, fun fact, everyone, I'm a Texan. We're just from Tennessee,
Yeah,
but
he's a countryman. He's a countryman.
let's see. But yeah, it's a Samsung Chromebook, which my personal opinion, it lasted about a couple of months before it started acting horrible. So definitely wouldn't.
Wow.
Definitely would.
Guys, I apologize for the confusion and delay. I am back.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Pearl. I was watching Talon's stream, listening to his recap the whole entire time. Like, okay, good job, Talon. Keep it going. Oh no, don't go to comedy. Oh no. So,
Well, you said keep them
we are
entertained.
back. Yeah, you did keep them entertained. I was fairly entertained. Okay, now we are back with a FNAF stream.
Guess who's
We're
back?
gonna go.
Back
Pearl,
again.
copyright. Stop it.
Sorry.
Here we go. So, I'll be playing Nightmare mode of FNAF 3 in the background, and we'll be talking about FNAF 3. So let's start with FNAF 3.
We talked about
FNAF
FNAF
3
already. Next.
Pearl, stop it. Okay, FNAF 3 is a very interesting game once you get started with it. So basically, what you are doing in FNAF 3 is you are following Freddy what's Fazbear Fright is what it's called, right, Talon?
Yep.
I was like,
It's
pretty sure it's called
horror
Fazbear
attraction.
Fright. Yeah, latest horror attraction. Fazbear's Fright. And basically, you're in the first night you're there. It's obvious that they're trying to bank off the terror and horror of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. It's very obvious that's what they're trying to do. And
sorry.
When you immediately see, you notice relics. Oh, Foxy almost got me there. Foxy, go away. Thank you, Foxy. But basically, what you're going through in this is you're going through this rundown horror attraction, and you're trying to fight off really nothing on the first night. the first night you're there at the Fast Fright location, nothing's really going on. It's honestly really chill. There's a new guy on the phone. His name is Phone Dude. All rad and stuff. And his premise is to let you know, hey, you know, we haven't found anything yet. We have a lot of relics and a lot of attractions. But besides that, there's not a lot going on here. So maybe we'll have to dress you up in a suit. We don't know yet. And how did Springtrap get over here so quick? That's just bad RNG.
God, stupid.
It's really annoying. I'm gonna get killed here. But despite me getting killed in the background, basically what we go through in this game is, hi Springtrap, you're kill me. Please just kill me. Will you just kill me? Please just... Springtrap, don't just look at me, man. Oh! Where did Phantom Freddy come from? That's fine. Okay. You guys heard me crying like that. But you hit night 2. After spending a night in Fazbear's Fright, as I'll show you guys right here, actually, I'll start a completely new game. We'll skip this part. And you'll immediately notice, I'm not going to let the phone call play in the background because that will interfere with the audio, but you'll quickly notice there's no Springtrap anywhere. No matter where you look through every single camera, Springtrap's not here. And then on the second night through, you notice the Phone Dude comes onto the mic and says, hey, we found one. A real one. And it's Springtrap.
Springtrap used to be my favorite.
You know what? He is one of my favorites. But Springtrap was introduced. Okay, fair enough. I personally like Circus Baby. Circus Baby's my favorite. Well, we'll get into Circus Baby later. Okay, so Springtrap, you get introduced to him, and you quickly notice he's not like the other animatronics. He doesn't move like a robot. He doesn't just follow the same identities. There's also one other thing. He's very torn apart. And through his torn apart animatronic suit, you quickly noticed that you can see organs and decaying flesh inside of him. As if someone has died and been in there for a long time. Mm-hmm. And it's honestly just horrifying how it all comes together. In 2, Talon, correct? 2 different pictures that you can rarely get one loading FNAF 3 up. You have pictures where Springtrap's trying to rip off his head and you can see the face of a decaying corpse, and then one where he just opens his mouth wide and you can see the face in it. There's 2 different ones, right?
Indeed.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay. We know the premise of FNAF 3. We'll get into the extra stuff here in just a second, but before we get into the extra stuff, I want to ask you guys, starting with Talon, how were you introduced to Five Nights at Freddy's 3? Talon?
So I was actually introduced to Five Nights at Freddy's 3 through its trailer video for YouTube. And upon seeing the video, I was intrigued by it because I had before seen some content that was clearly fake about future FNAF games, or even those that were fan-made, so immediately I didn't watch it, but eventually after catching word that it was actually a real trailer, I watched it, and one of the first thoughts I had was something really stupid, honestly, but when I saw Springtrap, I was like, oh my god, Golden Bonnie.
Well, that's actually what it is. What he is.
That's what I thought.
Now, when did you first ever play FNAF 3? Or, like, who did you first watch play FNAF 3 before you actually played it yourself?
It was Markiplier.
Okay, so like most people, it was Markiplier. Okay, so before we go to Pearl, I'll talk about my experience with Five Nights at Freddy's 3. I actually remember the day the first ever teaser for FNAF 3 came out. We were in computer class and somebody goes, hey guys, have you guys seen ScottGames.com? And all of us like, what? Nothing's new with ScottGames.com, right? And that is when we saw that there was just the box of this box right here that you guys can see on the screen right now of the toy animatronics, Foxy's Hook, a paper pal, pretty much saying we're not going back to a Freddy Fazbear's Pizza location. This is all gone. There's no way we're coming back here. And then when you brighten up the image, the famous Scott Cawthon trope is officially revealed. Of brightening up the image, you see Springtrap in the back. And then in the next teaser image I remember seeing, probably the most famous line in Five Nights at Freddy's now is, "He always comes back." And we know who that is now, but we'll talk about it in the context of things. Nobody knew who we were talking about. Honestly, I remember seeing that first teaser, and I wasn't assuming killer, I was more assuming, like, I see the gold, you know, and I'm assuming, like, a golden Freddy. You know what I mean? Until it's fully revealed that's a bunny. Because you can't see that it's a Spring Bonnie. And then I remember seeing the trailer for it, and like, okay, this is obviously not Golden Freddy. This is a completely new thing. And then, I can't remember the YouTuber's name, but I remember when FNAF 3 came out, and everyone's, like, freaking out, because it's like, man, we didn't think this game was coming out yet. You know? And the game all of a sudden releases, and here we are with Five Nights at Freddy's 3, and I can't remember the streamer's name, but I watched him play it, and just as everybody was, we were very confused of how the game worked, what the game was like, and everything. Nobody knew what to expect from this game, because it truly was not like any of the other Five Nights at Freddy's we ever experienced. So that's how I was introduced to Five Nights at Freddy's 3. Now, Pearl, how were you introduced to Five Nights at Freddy's 3?
Okay, so when I was little, I would always go to my neighbor's house, and they're the same age as me, and my neighbor, he actually introduced me to Five Nights at Freddy's 3, and that was when my very first time playing a FNAF game. He actually introduced me to Five Nights at Freddy's and Resident Evil, but yeah, we played that, and I was actually pretty good at it then, but now I just can't do it. Like,
okay.
That was back when I was when did FNAF 3 come out?
So, to put into perspective, FNAF 3, I am currently 19 years old, and I've graduated out of high school. When FNAF 3 released, I was 12, 13 years old in 6th grade. Maybe younger, probably. I was still really young when FNAF 3 came out, when all the FNAF games came out. I was only in 6th grade when FNAF 3 came out.
But I'm gonna say around maybe 11 or 10. Is that?
I thought this was a FNAF stream. It is a FNAF stream. Yeah, you would, if I'm a senior, you're going into 11th grade, Pearl?
Yes.
Yeah, you'd be in like 4th grade when FNAF 3 came out. So yeah, you'd be around that young age, like 9 to 10, you know.
Yeah. And the first time I actually watched it, I watched Cupquake and Markiplier.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay, so now that we got everybody's first experience with Five Nights at Freddy's 3, now we got to talk about the other big thing, which is the big minigames in between each night. We're not going to talk about the minigames where you can get certain endings. We're not going to talk about that yet. We're going to talk about the minigames between each night where you complete night 1. And keep in mind, when you complete night 1 of FNAF 3, your first thought is, oh, well, I can beat the first night. Good job. And all of a sudden, you're transported to an 8-bit How did you get there? How did you... You were just in Camp 10. You didn't teleport through an event that quick. Where's Matt Pat to explain this one? Never mind, we have to do the Matt Pats today.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna stare Springtrap down for right now. Okay, but basically, when you finish night 1, you're introduced to the first minigame. And all of a sudden, you're Freddy in what appears to be the FNAF 1 location. And you're on stage with Bonnie and Chica, and you can hear what seems to be thunder roaring in the background. And as you hear the thunder roaring in the background, you go down and you follow what is very obviously Shadow Freddy. And honestly, this is a puzzling thing when you first ever see it, because when you're following Shadow Freddy, you're like, what is this? And you follow Shadow Freddy through the FNAF 1 location, and then you go to this room that's not present in FNAF 1, and not at all present in any of the games, and you get introduced to this room, and all you do when you're trying to walk through it is you get an error message. Error, error, error. And you're like, what do you mean error? And as you step back from the room, Purple Guy emerges and dismantles Freddy. And that is how. Oh God! Oh God! Why did there was an echo all of a sudden?
Is it me?
I don't know. It went away a little bit. Okay. But you finish that minigame and you get knocked out. So basically, then we go to. There's still the echo. Pearl, can you reset your mic? Okay, is it better? Yeah, it's better.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good. We're good.
Okay.
Echo's gone. But then you get reset and you start night 2. Talon, what do you want to explain night 2 minigame?
Remember which one it was?
The night 2 minigame is where you do it's the same exact thing. Basically, you know what? I'll explain the first 4 and then you'll explain the finishing. So, for the first 4 nights of FNAF 3, after every single night you complete it, you play as either Bonnie, Chica, Freddy, or Foxy, and you get taken to that same exact room that Freddy gets taken out, and Purple Guy emerges and destroys the animatronic. Now, Talon, explain the final night 5.
I was thinking about good ending mini games. My bad.
No, I'm talking about the bad ending.
Okay.
So the final one we get. Go explain the final night 5's minigame.
Night 5's minigame starts off with you having an unfamiliar character, aka Crying Child, which I say unfamiliar in the sense that it's not something that you're used to having a perspective from. It's something that's more or less mentioned.
You're used to seeing the Crying Child, not actually playing as him.
Yeah. And this time you don't really have anyone guiding you, I believe.
No, you
it's
don't.
It's more or less that you're already
Yeah.
used to having to follow the same path and, well, end up at the same place.
Accurate.
And upon coming up to the room that would usually display an error upon reaching it, this time you're actually allowed to enter. And what you discover, other crying children, insinuating that it's the 5 children now all together after, having their vessels destroyed. Releasing them from, their torment of having to roam around in bodies that can't decay or even, be completely destroyed by natural causes.
Correct.
And you also notice a familiar face from previous minigames in the second game. Purple Guy. Also known as William Matson, just a name drop once again.
Correct.
And he seems slightly startled at the fact that there's now these ghost children seemingly trapping him inside the room, with no intentions of letting him out whatsoever. But there's also something that you notice to the right side of the room that's also very familiar. Spring Bonnie's suit. The very thing that's been antagonizing you throughout all these nights. As you approach Purple Guy, he steps away, and essentially making you chase him for maybe a couple of seconds, just across the room, until eventually he gets the bright idea that to avoid the children directly having any effect on him, he should enter the suit. Now...
And the reason he enters the suit, to clarify one thing, is he enters the suit because in his mind he feels like it would be something that would scare the children, as I'll explain in a second here. It's kind of the reason that they're not here anymore. Talon, continue.
Indeed. And upon entering the suit, as we know from the phone guy mentioning, these suits, well, specifically made ones for people, have spring locks in them.
Correct. AKA the spring lock suits.
And as you notice, as a little small detail in the actual minigame, there is water drops falling onto the suit. And keep in mind, these things are very sensitive to people, so...
Correct. And keep in
any
mind,
water droplets
as Phone
could
Guy
cause
mentions
anything.
yeah, exactly. As Phone Guy mentions, if you even breathe on the spring locks, the simple moisture in your breath can cause them to go off. So imagine actual water dripping on these spring locks.
So upon entering the suit, he lets out somewhat a laugh of victory, you could say, as
Thinking
if
that yet
he
again
thought he's won.
won. Correct.
But to his destined fate, because eventually this was going to happen to him, considering it's karma, he gets spring locked, crushing about every piece of his body into the suit and merging it inside of the suit.
Correct. And the ghost, somewhat being satisfied, but not really satisfied, but somewhat being satisfied, disappear. And as you see Purple Guy collapse on the floor, we then fade to the first of two possible endings, where you see the 4 original animatronic heads, along with Fred head in the back, which is very similar to Golden Freddy's head, which is Golden Freddy's head, all have lights inside of them, pretty much symbolically saying the children spirited are still inhabiting this, and they're still roaming. They are not giving their happiest day. And essentially just puts into place that they're not satisfied yet. So, with that in mind, first off, what this ending confirms to us, confirms a few things to us. First off, it confirms who's in Springtrap. It is indeed a date with our killer. We finally get to meet our killer face to face. We didn't know it until night 5, but we 100% get it confirmed. Our killer is inside of Springtrap. Purple Guy is Springtrap, as he was crushed to death inside of that costume.
God, chicken.
So with that being put into tow, you then, knowing that, everything gets a lot more eerie, as you also, after completing the nightmare mode with that ending, get greeted that Fazbear Fright is burned to the ground. But, Scott being Scott, if you brighten up that image, you notice that Springtrap survived the fire. So, with that in mind, let's go to the other way, another ending from FNAF 3, which is the minigames. Talon, I know you love these minigames a lot, so explain them.
Who are you? I'm joking.
If you guys can't tell the joke, Talon completed the good ending, and it took him forever, and he hates it.
Indeed. Meanwhile, this loser over here didn't.
Hey, I've beaten aggressive nightmare mode. Have you?
Okay, listen. I lost my data. This is
Fair
no
enough,
laughing matter.
You're right.
This is a very sad matter. How dare you? But essentially, we're discussing the good ending, right? Just to make sure I don't notch off into a different environment.
You're right. You're right.
Okay.
We're discussing the good ending here.
So, to obtain the good ending, it's rather a tedious matter, but essentially, while you're playing the game originally, you don't really look for small sort of things that exist. You're mainly just trying to do the objective and survive the night. But Scott laid some little secrets inside the game itself, not in code or anything, but out in the open for players to, find. And so, I forgot which room it is, but essentially how these secrets work is that upon finding the right room, you can interact with said secret, and it'll take you to a minigame.
Correct.
And for night 1, you don't really have to do much on that night, so there's not really a mini game to
There is a minigame.
find. Unless you want to
There's
just
one.
have a little small break to yourself and just treat yourself to something nice.
You could do the
Night 2.
You could do the balloon one, right? I thought you could do
Balloon
balloon boy
one, I think that's night 2, I believe. Let me see.
Maybe it is night 2. Maybe you have to have. That's
I
right.
think
You do
so,
have to have
because
spring
night
shut
1
there.
you just relax.
Yeah. Correct. Night 1's your chill night.
And then on night 2, I just pulled it up just now just to make sure there's no misinformation from me. You go to camera 8, and you'll see a Balloon Boy poster on the left side of the screen. And you essentially want to click on that poster. Whether it be on PC, you will click on it. Mobile, you just press your finger against it. In console, I do not know what button it would be, but I would assume it's probably circle or something like that.
I think it's circle.
And upon interacting with the poster, you end up inside a minigame.
Correct.
Good job, you found one of Scott's first secrets in the game.
Of just some of honestly, this one's like one of the better ones. One of them grinds my gears, and when we get to that one, it's just like I haven't
wait till we
been
get to, what is it, night 4, night 5?
I think it's night 4's minigame.
And essentially, you end up inside a minigame, and you're playing as I believe, Balloon Boy.
Yeah.
But you're in a very strange environment, with it being that there's balloons on these platforms, and seemingly you have the objective of collecting them and getting all of them. And as you do that, exactly, you just collect more balloons and go along your way. You find a doorway to exit. Now, to the average player, that might mean, oh yay, I've completed the minigame, let me go through the door. But nope, Scott really loves his secrets, so instead of doing that, you actually have to go to the top left of the room, where that door is, and jump outside. Yes, the wall isn't real, because Scott loves messing with people.
Correct. He really does. I think he just enjoys it.
Yeah, he probably finds a very good sense of entertainment from it. And
I would imagine.
as you exit through that wall, you'll fall. That's rhymed.
Good job, Sam.
And as you're falling, you essentially notice that the environment is changing from, you could say, a distortion of reality itself, because the minigames itself is a very strange thing to come upon. And once you hit the bottom, you end up inside a glitchy environment. And as you essentially reach around, you can now freely explore the new environment that you've landed into, and you're supposed to head towards the right, and as you do, you end up inside the room with crying kids. And as you progress even further past those kids, you'll eventually find the last balloon that you've needed. Which
is a multicolored
different balloon. It's a rainbow balloon.
Correct. And this balloon basically, who's William after? We'll get to that in a minute. So basically, the balloon symbolizes what the kids kind of want, and in the next minigame, which is it's just the Mangle Go-Go. It's not Foxy Go-Go. It's just a Mangle minigame. And the next minigame, you play as Mangle, and you collect the pieces while trying to avoid a kid that's trying to dismantle Mangle. Exactly. As the kids like to do in Kids Cove. So, while you're trying to avoid a child destroying you, after you collect the last piece, instead of jumping into the door, you will jump over the door, and due to the fact that you collected the balloons and Balloon Boys minigame, you now have a platform to jump off to, and after you jump through all the balloons, you then are next to a child. And after getting to that child, you give him a piece of cake. Oh, well, big cake, not just a piece of cake, but a big cake. And that cake pretty much makes him happy, his eyes widen, and the minigame cuts out. The minigame after that is Chica's minigame, correct?
Yes.
And that's by just pushing the cupcakes on night 3.
Mm-hmm.
And you collect each cupcake. Before collecting the final cupcake, You take a different route, also thanks to the balloons provided by Balloon Boy, which he, in this case, actually does help the lore. I know I really went off on Balloon Boy in the last stream. So, you know, Balloon Boy, you're not that bad. I'll give you a little pass now. But he essentially sets it up to where Sheik is able to go and give a cake to the next child. And after giving the cake to that child, it solidifies everything and makes the child happy, eyes widen. Next minigame. You complete night 3. Night 4. Now, before I let Talon take over this minigame, I'm gonna have a mini rant of how to get this minigame. It is by far the most confusing thing, and the fact that people found this out so quickly, to this day, still impresses me, because I don't know how people would have just thought to do this. But they did. Somebody thought, legitimately, hey, let's just press some numbers, and let's just see how it works. And it worked. They pressed numbers into a wall. You know what? I give a lot of passes to Scott and a lot of things. But Scott, me pressing into a wall is how we're getting endings now and minigames. Probably the only time I've ever been frustrated with Scott and of how to get a minigame going. Usually I'm cool with Scott, but that one honestly bugged me for some reason. It really just got me going. But it's okay. That's my mini rant. I don't have a lot more to rant about that one. It's really annoying, especially on console, to try to get it perfect, because it's not like you have a keyboard and mouse and a mouse that can perfectly click each of the numbers and everything. But it's cool. We're fine. We move on. Tal, explain that minigame. Who do we play as? Because we play as somebody really important, and it reveals a very important location to us.
Okay. You play as a very unfamiliar face if you haven't really looked too deep into the lore or overall previous games too much, but play as a Shadow Bunny. You play as a goddamn demon.
No, you don't. Not in this one.
They do.
No, you play as Freddy first.
I thought Freddy was the 5th one.
No, you're right. Never mind. I'm stupid.
Wait, now I'm confused. Is it the 4th one or is it the 5th one?
Okay, let's just get over this part right here. Basically, in the last 2 minigames, you play as either Shadow Bonnie or Golden Freddy, actually. Not our Freddy Fazbear. You play as Golden Freddy, or now as we know him, Spring Freddy, or later down the road we'll know him as Fredbear. And you quickly learn that and I'm just flying through FNAF 3 right now. Exactly, you're screwed. But this minigame is really confusing. The Shadow Bonnie game, you basically have to teleport through different rooms to try to... You have to what? What do you have to do exactly? You have to teleport through each room, and then you finally have to find the room where the kid's in, and then you get the kid and give him his cake, correct?
Oh, that's right. That's why you
wrong?
want to kill yourself every time you play that minigame. Not because
Yeah,
of the
'cause
process
it's
of actually getting it, but if you actually... Because here's a little fun fact. Yeah, sure, it's a minigame, and you're supposed to complete it to get the good ending in a certain way, but if you mess up at all and don't do a certain move, you can actually mess up the minigame and you have to restart.
Correct. And it's
Hence
very,
why
very,
Charles hates
very
it.
Yeah. That minigame in general. The whole entire thing in general annoys me, but that minigame in general really just grinds my gears.
Indeed.
But then you have the Golden Freddy minigame, where you give the last kid a cake, and that ends that minigame. But the other big minigame you got, out of all of that,
5.
is the Night 5 minigame, where you play as none other than our favorite protagonist, or antagonist, depending on which way you're looking at it.
Balloon Boy.
Protagonist, if you're looking at this. No. We play as the puppet, Marionette. Well, more of a spirit with the puppet mask. As it's very obvious it's not the Marionette. As in other 8-bit minigames, you have the floating Marionette. In this minigame, it's just a kid wearing a mask. And it's called Happiest Day. Hence why I mentioned the children have not gotten their happiest day yet. In this minigame, you see what seems to be a Freddy Fazbear pizzeria with balloons decorated for a birthday party. The child wearing the puppet mask goes to the back, where he gives a cake to a child that's crying. The other children are wearing a Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy mask. You give the child his cake, and after that, the child puts on a golden Freddy mask, implying that this child is indeed the spirit inside of Golden Freddy. After that, all the spirits disappear and the mask falls to the floor, finishing with the puppet mask. However, the reason the puppet mask is the final one to fall is because he's not really done. He's just done with that mission, to put more into perspective. But with that in mind, you then get the good ending. The lights inside are gone, and the missing children incident, for the most part, has been resolved. And after that, we move on to one of the most important when it comes down to telling the story of FNAF, besides Sister Location, in my opinion. Welcome to Five Nights at Freddy's 4. One of the, honestly, if not, the most confusing games at the time until Sister Location came out, and one of the most convoluted things to understand until you finally realize what the heck they're talking about. If we're being honest. Can we not all agree on that? Now, FNAF 4 and FNAF Sister Location lore is such a delved complex of each other that I have decided that we will break FNAF 4 and FNAF Sister Location into their own separate streams, because each of those games, I'm pretty sure we could all talk about just the lore and the game itself for about 2 hours each. Because there's so much to dig from each one of those games. Dang it! I was so close. I'm gonna finish this night off. Now, but I don't want to open the next game with talking about how we got to FNAF 4 and everything. I want to ask you guys before we get really going into it, how did you guys get introduced to Five Nights at Freddy's 4? Talon, you started off. If you can't tell already, we all hate FNAF 4. It's our least favorite FNAF games.
Okay.
We've all had nightmares trying to play this game. I can confidently say, and this is embarrassing for all of us, none of us have ever beaten it.
No. I want to. Okay, I want to be the first one to beat it. I want to be the first one to beat it.
Hey, guys, if you guys can have this in stream, I want whoever's watching right now, everybody that's watching right now, archive this. If Pearl, out of everybody, beats FNAF 4 before me and Talon, she can be known as the
$50.
Queen of Five Nights at Freddy's. No, we're not putting money on this. I said Queen of Five Nights at Freddy's. There you go. You're not getting money.
Yet.
Yeah.
Okay, but Talon, how'd you get introduced to Five Nights at Freddy's 4?
So I was kind of a bit late to the party for this one, but essentially at some point I took a break from YouTube.
Okay.
I forgot around what time it was, but all I can say is last time I watched YouTube at that point was when Leafy was still around and relevant.
Oh wow.
So yeah.
So it took you a while to get going with FNAF 4.
Yes, and upon discovering it, Mark was actually finishing it up pretty much.
Okay.
And it was also somewhat the point in which I kind of disconnected from the fandom of Five Nights at Freddy's. Maybe like halfway into a series, so I had never actually found out about like things like the Halloween animatronics or Nightmare On.
Yeah.
And co. I didn't let alone know
Jacko,
about
Bonnie, Jacko, Chica.
Yeah, and I didn't let know about Nightmare, or was it Fredbear? I don't know. Which one was the one that's completely void and an absolute abomination? Nightmare. Yeah, I didn't know about Nightmare yet. I knew about Fredbear, but not Nightmare until I came back into the community.
Yeah. Okay. I was introduced to FNAF. FNAF 4 really easy. Just like FNAF 3, I followed Scott Games all the way through, and I legitimately watched Scott show off FNAF 4 and all the teasers, and I loved the teasers for FNAF 4 teasing, hey, was it me? Did I do it? Was I the one that caused the bite? I loved that. The reveal of each one of the animatronics themselves